you don't have to isolate. Would you still isolate?
Yes,
or
I would.
I would feel so incredibly guilty going out and about, knowing I'm positive for COVID and going out and living a normal life, especially doing things that involve no social distancing or crowds.
Exactly.
Because now we've gone this culture of isolating, and if you have COVID, you stay away from everyone, including the people that live in your own house, siblings, parents, grandparents, people that have sacrificed birthdays and Christmases and religious celebrations and what have you, right? This whole thing has taken, everyone has sacrificed so much except the members of
politicians,
the government.
the Tory party,
Everyone has sacrificed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of it is proven.
Everyone sacrificed so much, and there is a culture now, I think, of guilt around, even like
guilt
coughing,
or
even
responsibility.
Coughing. You ever coughed in public and now felt really weird about it?
Yeah, I mean that is guilt, but I don't think to say that if you've got COVID and you don't want to go out and infect people, that's guilt. No, that's just responsible. That's just being responsible.
But it was this whole, I think I've said this before on the show, that a lot of the burden of responsibility fell onto us as individuals and not so much on the government or the people in power of legislation around COVID.
But that's exactly what that is.
And that's why we're now in a situation where I think we're going to be made to feel even worse about going out with positive COVID tests.
They're just saying we're not governing you anymore. Yeah. Just do what you want.
Do what you want, and if people die, you die.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
Good luck.
And also, I do want to talk a little bit how this is actually a really inherently ableist kind of policy.
I agree.
Because
I was going to say,
and this is why I kept concertedly making the distinction between generally Omicron has been milder, because there is still certain demographics, namely kind of disabled people, people who are immunocompromised, who for them Omicron is not mild at all. It's fatal. It's deadly. So to have a kind of blanket rule for everyone, it is ableist, because it just completely discards that demographic of people. And okay, fine, fair enough, there might be a smaller demographic than the general public, but the government still has a duty of governance over them. Right. So
also, I think as well, a lot of people are going to be now petrified of leaving their house, knowing that there's a bigger population of people that are COVID positive out and about. And then I'm again on the ableist side of things, on a mental health side of things, people with psychiatric disorders that make them more paranoid is the word I'm looking for, and people that are now really scared, and they build things up in their head and they get expectations, and it's going to stop people leaving the house.
100. And you know what? I'll be honest. This British body politic, I don't trust them. I do not trust the British body politic to act responsibly. No, I don't. Between
they didn't act responsible
when were there. Exactly. Between the three of us, I know if either of you or I got COVID, I wouldn't go out. I wouldn't leave my house, because I don't know who I could be affecting, and I don't know that if I infect someone, that person will survive. It's a guarantee that person will survive. I can't have that on my conscience. I can't. There's bare man that won't care.
I think
that will just do it.
That's the thing that's kind of, when you see March 24th, all COVID rules scrapped, I think on first impression for some people that's a positive thing. It's a sign. Also, March 24th being literally 2 years after the whole March 23rd lockdown. It's a symbolic thing. That's probably why they've decided to do that. But when you look more into it, for so many people, it's not a positive thing at all. It's, even if obviously we hope that nothing or as little bad things come from it, that doesn't mean that people aren't going to be fretting over it themselves, be really paranoid.
I feel do you know what? In my opinion, this is just bad governance, because I feel we as we're sat here and we're theorizing, is this a good idea? Is it a bad idea? What would be a better idea? All of these things. It's actually not our job. I'm not running the country. Yeah. We have a whole government. We have a whole parliament to be running, to be making these decisions, and they're not. I feel they're either one extreme or the other. It's just, there's no rules at all, and we're not governing you or governing this pandemic at all. Or it's just lockdown. It's just...
And we're not even going to stick to our own rules.
Yeah, exactly. And it's I don't think it needs to be one extreme or the other. I completely see the argument of, okay, well, at some point, something needs to give, something needs to change. I completely see and agree with that. However, I don't think the solution to that is, okay, just a complete blanket lifting of all rules and regulations. There has to be a middle ground, and there's a reason why we have a parliament and a government, is because it's their job to literally find these solutions. It's your job to literally govern, to the best way possible. Like, it's not, I could have made that decision.
Well,
it's not hard. I don't need to be qualified for it.
The Metro has said others have suggested that this move is part of Operation Red Meat, which is a surge of populist policies to win back support from angry backbench MPs in the wake of Partygate.
Yeah, I mean, 1,000%, I do not believe, in my opinion, that this is a policy that is for the greater good of the public. It's a political decision. 1,000%. Any decision that has ever been made throughout this entire pandemic, from my opinion, has been a political decision.
Because the backbenchers, in general, they're in favour largely of getting the economy back up running, aren't they? That's what they mainly care about. So they want everything to go back to normal sort of thing. And obviously they're all really annoyed with Boris at the moment for reasons that are blatantly obvious. But what do you guys think about the Sue Gray report? Do we reckon anything's going to come of it? Do you reckon that the Met now saying, oh, you've got to redact some stuff or not?
Do you know what's going to happen? Like, the Met are going to do what they always do. They're going to take control of it. They will water down the findings, and then they'll release it in their own time with a number of unforeseen delays when the kind of momentum of the issue has passed.
Well, that's what I noticed that happening anyway. Like, this Sue Gray stuff has been going on for so long that yesterday when they announced, the Met said that they want to remove certain things from the report when it's released so that it doesn't prejudice their own investigation. I was just a bit like, you know what, at this point, I was telling myself off because I'm like, you need to stay angry about this because it is something to be angry about. But I'm just at this point like, I don't care. Like, I'm getting it's been dragged on for so long that you just get like.
But that's what they do. Like, that's what they do because they know that people can't sustain, like, they can never really be, a human being can't really have like sustained rage like that. Do you know what I mean? And they rely on that. They rely on the fact that people will eventually just have to become exhausted and have to move on and focus on their own lives. And that's what they do. That's why they have so many kind of like red tape and all this, you know, layers of bureaucracy and all of these things. But yeah, it's not, I don't know, I'm not expecting any. And also, like, the Met, are we relying on the Met to bring justice?
And again, this is, well, I mean, obviously this is in our opinion, but if you look into the history of the Met and their dealings with things, then you'll get what we're basing our opinion on.
There appears to be a very obvious agenda.
You're just tired, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
CBA.
tired.
It's tiring, yeah. That's why I like that, but that's what they rely on. They rely on, like, what they do is they kind of, they exhaust the body politics so as to subdue them. You know, like, they give us so much fatigue that even when they're just moving higgy, we don't have the energy to do anything about it.
No.
You know, like, when all the Boris Johnson stuff came out, like...
Yeah, it's at the point where you just sigh.
You know, I'm surprised but not disappointed.
Yeah.
No, wait. Disappointed but not surprised.
Yeah.
Them ones.
That's the one.
Them ones. People are just like, it's just the next thing, innit?
Yeah. I think let's wrap up with something positive now.
Yeah, everyone say one positive thing.